Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry, I'm still getting over being sick. I got like a sinus infection or a head cold of some kind. So I'm still just a little like my throat's still a little irritated and I'm a little congested, but I'm getting better finally. The yesterday was yesterday and the day before were awful. I had like no energy. I was tired. Um, I was so stuffed up. It was like my nose would just start running. I mean, I was constantly blowing my nose. It was awful. I had so much congestion. It was terrible. But today I finally started to get some relief. And I only had to blow my nose um, a quarter of, if not less, of what I had to do yesterday. Oh my goodness. It was terrible. My poor nose. Um, well, and we didn't get to go to church today either because I just didn't want to possibly get anyone else sick. So that's one of my pet peeves because I get sick very easily. So if I can, I try not to, you know, if I'm not sure if I'm contagious or not. I mean, my husband didn't really get sick and neither did my daughter. So I don't know that I'm contagious, but I just still just you're shaking hands with people at church and then with Mexicans. I don't know if it's just the Mexicans were around or all Mexicans, but um, it's very common for you to hug them. The women, they hug you and then you like kiss their like the side of their cheek on one side. And so I was like, oof, do I really want to like go and like do that, while I'm like sniffling and touching people's hands. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't think that's a good idea. I think God will understand. So, I just stayed home with my husband and daughter today, and it was a really nice day, so it was good. Anyways, um, I hope everyone's having a good weekend and start of their week. I have not been doing great with reading the Bible, um, like as much as I want to. So I want to start my day with prayer and reading the Bible. And then I would like to also pray again at night. And, that'll just either be a deeper prayer or just a quicker one, just depending on how the day goes. But I would really like to start my day with God. Um, because right now it's opposite. I'm doing a deeper prayer at night and reading the daily devotionals on Dwell app at night. Um, and and I just don't. I feel like it should be opposite, and it's hard. I have a really hard time getting up in the morning, like right away, and I'm already trying to get up and start praying and exercise, and then I'm like, wow. And then on top of that, I'm gonna add studying the Bible. So I'm just a little like, I don't know. It's hard. But I'm gonna try. Um, maybe like maybe just reading the chapters for the day and start with that and getting in the habit, like take baby steps. Because I've noticed when I make too many changes in my life, especially my day to day life, like if I make too many changes all at once, I have a harder time having those longer lasting habits versus where my MO in life has been more, I make smaller changes over time and then it just grows um, into healthy habits long term. And I just feel like if that's how I do things, why try to fight it? So I think this week I'm going to focus on getting up before my daughter and starting with prayer and starting with reading the chapters of the day. And also maybe like the daily devotional in the app, Dwell. because it has like a daily devotional where it picks verses out of um, the Bible, and then it talks about it. And they're really nice, actually. They're pretty short, a few minutes long. So I usually read the passages and then I read the devotional. And they're really nice. So a person actually who's been helping me in my videos is the person that helped get me into that. And I've been doing them more and more lately. So thank you if you're watching. So I'm going to work on that this week. And then since I'm sick still a little bit, I think I'm going to like just do light exercise. I don't know. It, I don't want to like do too much because then, I would have to wake up like way earlier than my daughter. And I don't know. I got to figure it out. I really have to figure this out because my daughter she just stopped taking her naps. She's not taking naps anymore. She just like, I don't know, she just kind of just stopped one day and was fighting me like crazy. And I tried like 2 or 3 days. And then after that, I just was like so fed up. And so I just stopped trying to give her a nap and she's fine with that. So we have officially gotten rid of nap time. And she's a little over 2 years old and 2 months. So according to Google, that's normal sometimes. A lot of toddlers will stop napping between the ages of 2 and 4 years old. So she's stopped, and I knew that day was going to come, and I knew God was preparing me for this day to come. God has been for months encouraging me to start, finding a different time of day to pray and read the Bible because her naps were eventually going to stop. So I knew this was going to happen. So now that it's here, I really have to try really hard to, dedicate my first thing in the morning to God. Because, what's a better time than the first thing in your day? It is hard though. When I first wake up, I have found times where I was like struggling to pray deeply because I was like tired or just couldn't like think clearly. So I think it's just going to be practice, honestly. You can make changes in your day-to-day routine. You just have to practice and just keep going, keep trying and be disciplined about it. And eventually, like any habits that we have in our lives, it was just time. So that's what I'm going to be working on this week. Wish me luck. I'll let you guys know. So yes, in case you're wondering, I am making this video at midnight while my husband and daughter are sleeping. I don't have any other time to make these videos right now. And making them first thing in the morning would be too difficult because I'm already trying to pray and read the Bible. And I'm going to be honest, you guys. Sometimes when I pray, I can pray for a while. Like, last night I prayed really deeply, and I don't know how long I prayed. I prayed for a good, like at least 30 minutes, I feel like, if not longer. And I could have kept going. But I was like, no, I need to go to bed, like I was really feeling it. So like that's my concern in the morning is when I get up, I'm going to pray for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to read and study the Bible for another 30 minutes. And then I'm going to exercise for 30 minutes. So it's just kind of like, oh man, that's like an hour and a half. And then I have to make these videos at night. So it's like, whew, that's tough. I will figure it out though. because it's important. And God will help me. Anyways, my throat is really bothering me. So I'm going to stop talking and we're going to get into today's chapters, which I have not read myself. I have only just listened when I recorded it. I don't know, yesterday or the day before. I think it was the day before. Or I don't know. Anyways, so let's get into it.
Then one was brought to him who was demon-possessed, blind and mute. And he healed him, so that the blind and mute man both spoke and saw. And all the multitudes were amazed and said, "Could this be the son of David?" Now when the Pharisees heard it, they said, "This fellow does not cast out demons except by Beelzebub, the ruler of the demons." But Jesus knew their thoughts and said to them, "Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself will not stand. If Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then will his kingdom stand? And if I cast out demons by Beelzebub, by whom do your sons cast them out? Therefore they shall be your judges. But if I cast out demons by the Spirit of God, surely the kingdom of God has come upon you. Or how can one enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods, unless he first binds the strong man, and then he will plunder his house? He who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters abroad. Therefore I say to you, every sin and blasphemy will be forgiven men, but the blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven men. Anyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man, it will be forgiven him. But whoever speaks against the Holy Spirit, it will not be forgiven him, either in this age or in the age to come. Either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree bad and its fruit bad, for a tree is known by its fruit. Brood of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good things, and an evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth evil things. But I say to you, that for every idle word men may speak, they will give account of it in the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees answered, saying, "Teacher, we want to see a sign from you." But he answered and said to them, "An evil and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and no sign will be given to it, except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the great fish, so will the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will rise up in the judgment with this generation and condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and indeed, a greater than Jonah is here. The queen of the south will rise up in the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and indeed, a greater than Solomon is here. When an unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places, seeking rest, and finds none. Then he says, 'I will return to my house from which I came.' And when he comes, he finds it empty, swept, and put in order. Then he goes and takes with him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter and dwell there, and the last state of that man is worse than the first. So shall it also be with this wicked generation." While he was still talking to the multitudes, behold, his mother and brothers stood outside, seeking to speak with him. Then one said to him, "Look, your mother and your brothers are standing outside, seeking to speak with you." But he answered and said to the one who told him, "Who is my mother, and who are my brothers?" And he stretched out his hand toward his disciples and said, "Here are my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother." On the same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by the sea. And great multitudes were gathered together to him, so that he got into a boat and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. Then he spoke many things to them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some seed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them. Some fell on stony places, where they did not have much earth, and they immediately sprang up, because they had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprang up and choked them. But others fell on good ground, and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came and said to him, Why do you speak to them in parables? He answered and said to them, Because it has been given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For whoever has, to him more will be given, and he will have abundance. But whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. And in them the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled, which says, Hearing you will hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you will see, and not perceive. For the hearts of this people have grown dull. Their ears are hard of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, lest they should understand with their hearts and turn, so that I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For assuredly, I say to you, that many prophets and righteous men desired to see what you see, and did not see it, and to hear what you hear, and did not hear it. Therefore hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom, and does not understand it, then the wicked one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is he who received seed by the wayside. But he who received the seed on stony places, this is he who hears the word, and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, but endures only for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. Now he who received seed among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful. But he who received seed on the good ground is he who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and produces, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants of the owner came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? He said to them, An enemy has done this. The servants said to him, Do you want us then to go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest while you gather up the tares, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And at the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, First gather together the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all the seeds, but when it is grown, it is greater than the herbs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and nest in its branches. Another parable he spoke to them. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, till it was all leavened. All these things Jesus spoke to the multitude in parables, and without a parable he did not speak to them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables, I will utter things kept secret from the foundation of the world. Then Jesus sent the multitude away, and went into the house, and his disciples came to him, saying, Explain to us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said to them, He who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seeds are the sons of the kingdom, but the tares are the sons of the wicked one. The enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. Therefore, as the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of this age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and those who practice lawlessness, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and hid, and for joy over it, he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking beautiful pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a dragnet that was cast into the sea and gathered some of every kind, which, when it was full, they drew to shore. And they sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but threw the bad away. So it will be at the end of the age. The angels will come forth, separate the wicked from among the just, and cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Jesus said to them, Have you understood all these things? They said to him, Yes, Lord. Then he said to them, Therefore every scribe instructed concerning the kingdom of heaven is like a householder who brings out of his treasure things new and old. Now it came to pass, when Jesus had finished these parables, that he departed from there. When he had come to his own country, he taught them in their synagogue, so that they were astonished and said, Where did this man get this wisdom and these mighty works? Is this not the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary, and his brothers James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas? And his sisters, are they not all with us? Where then did this man get all these things? So they were offended at him. But Jesus said to them, A prophet is not without honor, except in his own country and in his own house. Now he did not do many mighty works there, because of their unbelief. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard the report about Jesus, and said to his servants, This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore these powers are at work in him. For Herod had laid hold of John and bound him, and put him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, because John had said to him, It is not lawful for you to have her. And although he wanted to put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday was celebrated, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod. Therefore he promised with an oath to give her whatever she might ask. So she, having been prompted by her mother, said, Give me John the Baptist's head here on a platter. And the king was sorry. Nevertheless, because of the oaths and because of those who sat with him, he commanded it to be given to her. So he sent and had John beheaded in prison. And his head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. Then his disciples came and took away the body and buried it, and went and told Jesus.
Well, that took a turn. Oh my goodness. What the heck? I was not expecting the end there about John the Baptist's head. That was random. Well, I mean, from what we were reading, like, it just seemed very like, what? I mean, obviously, I'm sure I'll learn more. Because isn't the Gospels, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the Gospels like 4 different books from 4 different people's like perspectives? what was it, like Matthew, John, Luke, and something, one other one. I don't know if that's correct or not, but um I mean, we'll learn what happened there. I did not understand everything that happened in today's chapters. I really need to read them before we keep continuing. I feel like I just kind of need to read them one more time just to kind of like understand a little bit better, because I was kind of like lost a little bit sometimes. But anyways, it's good chapters though. It is exciting to like be finally reading about Jesus. It's been so long, you know. The Old Testament was very long and very hard to read sometimes. I mean, not just hard to read, but also just like boring sometimes. And so it was just hard to like pay attention and stay engaged. But, you know, all of the Bible is important to read. All of it is puzzles to the, all of its puzzle pieces to the big puzzle, to the big picture. So, it's important to read all of it, in my opinion. So, anyways, well, I'm gonna go because my throat hurts and I'm ready to go to bed. But I will see you guys maybe tomorrow for some more chapters. It just depends, because I really want to read today's chapters before like moving on to tomorrow's chapters. So it just depends on how tomorrow goes, if I'm able to like read both today's and tomorrow's chapters before doing a video tomorrow night. I do have a lot of errands to run tomorrow, so I will do my best. And I'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow or the next day. Bye.